Greetings everyone and welcome back. My name is Alfred, and in this episode we're going to install the GitLab instance on the server that we had already created. And then that server that we had already created is right here, and here is where we're going to install our GitLab instance. All right, so let's go ahead and head over to the GitLab website. So I'm going to go ahead and get into GitLab, and I'm going to head over to the install section here. All right, if you didn't get up to the install section, just go ahead and head over to the resources here, and you're going to have a link there to install. All right, so let's scroll down here, and what I'm going to do, I'm using Ubuntu. So if you're using another distribution, just go ahead and click on the distribution that you are using for your machine. So right now I'm using Ubuntu. As you've noticed that we installed Ubuntu server, and that's what we are going to click on. All right, so and after clicking on that, I'm going to have the installation instructions here. And as you can see, the first thing that you've got to do is to update your system. So I'm going to copy the update command there. I'll head over to my SSH client connection here. And as you remember, we used the key to connect to the server through the SSH client here. All right, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to paste that in. You can just go ahead and type it if you have time to do that. All right, and that should take some time to install the update on our server. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pause the video, and when it comes back, I will resume. Right, and the update has ran correctly and successfully, and now we can continue from where we left. All right, so let's just go ahead here and keep on reading the manual or the instructions here. And the next thing that we have to do is have the open SSH. Let's just go ahead and install this. So I'm just going to go to the beginning of my console here. I'm going to paste that. I go ahead and bring that in, and it's installing the packages. All right, and that it's installed successfully. So let's just go ahead, and here it tells us we have to install the postfix, but we not be sending an emails. We not be using any SMTP servers, so we do not need to install the postfix. All right, so the next thing that we have to do is install the package itself. Let's just go ahead and install the uh, GitLab repository package, which is this one right here. So I'm just going to copy that, or you can use this button here, this copy button here, and copy that. Go ahead here. I'm just going to jump in the beginning of my console, and I'm going to paste that, right? And then it's going to start installing the GitLab. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause the video again, and when it's installed successfully, I'll come back and we'll continue from there. And I think it's already installed. The repository setup, you can now install packages. So let's just go ahead, and the next step is to use this command here to bring in the GitHub. So if you'd like to specify a custom password for the initial administrator, use root. All right. All right, so let me just go ahead and copy this. I'm just going to use the this one here. So let me just go ahead and do that. And let's just go ahead and paste that into our terminal here. And one thing we are going to change, because we are not going to be installing on our, we're not going to have the secure shell. We'll not be using the HTTPS. I'm just going to use the HTTP, and I'll be using my local machine, so I do not have a host name. And what I can do here, I'm going to call this one GitLab, and instead of having this one as an example, I'm going to just have the name, it having the same name of the server that we created. So I'm going to have it as devgitlab.com. So I'm going to go ahead and replace that. So it's going to read like gitlab.devgitlab.com. So I'm missing the B here like that. All right, so let me just go ahead and press enter on my keyboard, and that should start installing the GitLab instance. All right, so I think it's going to take some time. depending on the connection of your internet and the resources of your PC. And for that, I'm going to pause the video, and then when it's all done, I'll just come back again. Right, and the GitLab is now installed on our server, and it's showing us that if we were to visit this URL here, that we should get uh, the GitLab website that's on our local machine here. And that's for now, it's not gonna work. So if we try to do this, that works. Right. So one thing I would want to do, I would want to configure this one to map to our server IP address. So to do that, just go ahead and open your host files. If you're on Windows, go ahead and open your host files and go ahead and edit their host files. And then it's going to point to the URL that it's coming from the GitLab server like that. So I'm going to map my IP address for the GitLab server to this URL here. So now if I were to go to this URL, that will give me this server here. All right, so I'm going to save that. So if you try to go to the URL that you provided and you do not get anything, just go ahead and map the IP address to the URL that you provided, or just go directly to your IP address in the browser, and that should launch the login page for your GitLab instance. All right, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to try to log in, but I do not have the password. And as you can see here, we should get a way to get the password. And as you can see here, it tells us that we have a custom password. If we didn't provide a custom password during installation, which we did not, a password will be randomly generated and stored for 24 hours in this path here. So let's just go ahead and bring in this password and use it to log into our GitLab. So I'll copy this path here. I'll go back to my terminal here, and I'll use Nano to bring it the password that the password that was generated during the installation. All right, so let me just go ahead and bring in the password, and that's not the correct path. So it should be Nano etc then GitLab, and I think this is not writable. So again, I'm going to have this one is sudo, and that file does not exist. Seems like so. And one thing we can do, I think we can get the password from here. As you can see here, you didn't opt in to print initial password to std out. So what we can do, let's just go ahead and copy this path right here, and let's just go ahead and have sudo nano, and then I'm going to paste that URL here. All right, and that should give us the password. And this is the password that it was set for us. All right, so I'm going to copy this password, go back to the browser here. I'm going to use root, and I'm going to say remember me. Then I'm going to paste in the password that we copied. All right, and that it's going to take us into the GitLab uh, instance like that. All right, so what we can do when you're here, you can just go ahead and try to change your password. All right, so there is GitLab installed locally onto our server. So when we come back in the next video, what we're going to do, we're going to see how we can create a project from here and then be able to work on that project on our machine. And then this will be our project's repository. All right. So here you can just go ahead and try to navigate your account. You can just go ahead and try to change the password. And when we're here, let's just go ahead and change the password. So I'll go ahead here into the preferences, and as you can see here, we have a password button here, or a password link here. So I'm just going to click on that. It's going to ask me to provide the current password, which is the password that we have on our clipboard. So I'm just going to paste that in, and the password that I'm going to use is just password, and I'm going to confirm that again. It will be password like that, and then I'm going to save that. And I think password might not contain commonly used combination of words and letters. So I'm going to say pass, 1, 2, and then I'm going to have hash. So pass 1, 2 hash like that. try to set that. A current password, of course, it's already in the clipboard, and I'm going to change that, and it's not changing. So what I can do, I'll go ahead and try to have this password. Right, it's auto-generated. So what I can do, I'm just going to copy this password. Make sure you copy it somewhere, and I'm going to save that. Right. So after that, I'm going to have it just here so that I do not forget my password. And I'm going to comment this out. You can just go ahead and create your strong password. But for me, for now, I'm just going to use that one. So here, what I'm going to do, I'll be using root, and the password is the one we created. I'm going to say remember me, and I'm going to go ahead and log into the account again. All right, so that is Git installed on our local server. When we come back, we'll start by creating the project I will be working on to automate some of the routine works that we do every day as software engineers. Thank you very much for being with me on this one. I'll see you in the next one.